Hey, I'm Meggie Kay. So today I want to talk about some of the difficult things in Japan. Now in this video I don't want to talk about like the difficult things that one would expect might be difficult, like the language. I thought the language would be difficult, and it is, and I'm not going to make a video about that because I don't think that's very interesting. Like the things you hear is like, oh, this is really hard in Japan. Sure, those could be hard. But today I want to talk about the things that either I didn't think would be hard or that I just never thought of before coming to Japan that I struggle with a little bit. And these things are probably not difficult for a lot of people that come to Japan. I think I find these difficult mainly based on my personality. But yeah, I wanted to share these anyways because like I said, I never even considered that these might be difficult. And if you're anything like me, maybe you would struggle with them too. But yeah, let's just get into this. Number one is picking up dishes when you eat. Now in Japan it's super normal to pick up your bowl and your dish and whatever container you might have food in and eat with it in your hand. And I struggled with this because I always grew up where you don't pick up your dishes. The most you can do is tip a bowl to get the last bit of soup out, but the dishes would never come up off the table. I feel like when I was growing up, if I ever picked the dish up off the table, I would get a smack on the side of my head from my dad just because that's not something you do. But in Japan, it's totally normal and socially acceptable, and a lot of the times that is the only way to get the food from the bowl into your mouth. So this has gotten a bit easier the longer I'm here and the more I'm kind of overriding my childhood table manner installation. But when I first arrived, I really struggled with this. Sometimes to the point where during my school lunch, I wouldn't eat the soup. I would use the chopsticks and eat everything out of it. But even though I knew it was totally fine to pick up the bowl and drink the soup right from the bowl, and everyone around me was doing it, it's just mentally I couldn't get over that hurdle and break this table manners that my parents instilled in me when I was a little kid, which I mean I guess is a kudos to my parents for doing that, but kind of made my life in Japan a little difficult at first. So I just I didn't eat the soup a few times and I poured it back because I just couldn't get over the picking dishes up. So next up is greetings, and what I mean by this is every day when I go to school and when I walk into the teacher's room, you kind of just say good morning, and when you leave you say goodbye or you're leaving, whatever. And I have found this to be very difficult. So there's basically two reasons why I kind of feel like this. One is that I'm not saying good morning to a person, I'm kind of saying it to a room, and whoever might hear me. And even though it probably doesn't seem like this on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, but I can be a fairly shy person and I can have a fairly quiet voice unless I'm teaching in class or in front of an audience giving a speech or a presentation, or I grew up doing theater and stuff and projecting a voice and whatever. I can do that, but outside of those situations I tend to be shy and I tend to be fairly quiet most of the time, and I just find it very odd to just kind of say things to a room because I feel my voice isn't loud enough to be heard. And the second part of this is that when I walk in or when I'm leaving, I can obviously see people in the room and they're working and they're busy and they're doing stuff, and I feel just announcing that I'm coming into the room or saying goodbye and leaving, I feel it's disruptive and I don't want to bother them, and I feel if I just say this, I'm taking them out of their work that they're trying to do. So that adds to that shyness and that quiet voice, and I'm just like when I walk in the morning, if I see someone directly, I'll say good morning to them and kind of like direct it at them. I need to direct my things at a person, and particularly a person who doesn't seem very busy. So like if I make eye contact with a teacher as I walk into the room, I'll be like, good morning, or like, goodbye. And when I go in and out of the teacher's room, I always pass like the vice principal, so I've been kind of like directing it towards them, and then sometimes other people will hear me, but it's just, I still, even a year into being in Japan, I like kind of like take a deep breath and collect myself before I enter the room or before I leave at the end of the day, just so I can get this out there, which is kind of one of those, you know, odd little struggles. So the third and final thing on my list of unexpected struggles is the self-introduction. And self-introductions in Japan are like a legit thing, and I struggle with them. The reason why I struggle with self-introductions is because I never know what to say in them, because self-introductions like back home in Canada are not really a thing the way they are in Japan. Like I have given so many self-introductions, more than I can even remember doing, and I don't know what to say in them. It's like, I'm Megan. Nice to meet you. Like what else do you want to know? I'm not one where I can just like think of like facts and information and something about myself. Like I find that very difficult to do. Like ask me something and then I can tell you, but like just thinking of stuff on the spot, I'm like, what? I have no idea what's happening. What do you want to know? It actually got to the point where I did a self-introduction and I didn't realize it until someone came up to me afterwards, be like, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Canada, and it clicked in my head that I didn't even say where I was from, because it just like that information was not in my brain at the time of my self-introduction. Like, why would I say where I'm from? What? So yeah, I'm like just amazed that Japanese people can do like self-introductions, and they have like a list of things that they can just talk about themselves in a self-introduction and just give information, and they're like, my hobby is this and my special skill is that, and I'm sitting here like, do I have a hobby? Do I have a special skill? I don't know. I feel like Japanese people would be the like world champions in small talk, because they just like can pull out all these random things, and it's like, it's just sitting there in their brains ready to go. And you know, somebody asked me, what's your hobby? And I'm like, stuff. I don't have this view of myself where I can just say things about myself at any given time. I don't know. It's very strange, and it's very difficult, and it comes up so often in Japan, to the point where I'm just kind of saying stuff. I'm not like making things up and being ridiculous or whatever. Like I'm saying things that are true, but like if you asked me that in Canada, I would have been like, So yeah, those were 3 struggles in Japan that I have. And like as I'm here longer, they become easier, but I still struggle with them every now and then, and I really didn't think that these would be the things that I would find very difficult in Japan. But yeah, maybe if you're anything like me, you struggle with these things too, or I don't know, maybe I'm just super weird. But yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I'll be back with another video soon. Bye!